The champagne bubbles caught the light as I watched my husband Marcus deliver his victory speech. Around me, the city's elite applauded his brilliant leadership in closing the Morrison acquisition, a deal that would supposedly cement his legacy as Sterling Corp's youngest CEO. And of course, Marcus's voice boomed across the marble ballroom. None of this would be possible without my beautiful wife, Victoria, who keeps our home running so I can focus on the real work. The crowd chuckled. I smiled graciously, playing my part to perfection. If only they knew that I was the one who had orchestrated every detail of the Morrison deal from the shadows, or that the mysterious V.S. Holdings, Sterling Corp's largest shareholder, stood for Victoria Sterling, not some foreign investment firm as everyone believed. My name is Victoria Sterling, and for 3 years, I've been the most powerful person in this room while everyone, including my husband, thinks I'm just another trophy wife. It wasn't supposed to be this way. When I met Marcus 5 years ago at a charity gala, I was already building my empire. At 28, I had quietly amassed a fortune through strategic investments, but I craved something more challenging, running a major corporation. Sterling Corp, with its outdated leadership and untapped potential, was the perfect target. The plan was simple: acquire controlling interest through shell companies, then reveal myself as the new owner. But Marcus Sterling, the charismatic heir apparent, complicated everything. He was brilliant, ambitious, and completely captivating. When he pursued me with flowers and poetry, I found myself genuinely falling for him. So I made a decision that would change everything. I would marry him, learn the business from the inside, and eventually reveal my true identity. We would run Sterling Corp together as equals, combining his operational expertise with my strategic vision. How naive I was. The first red flag came during our engagement party. Marcus introduced me to his board members as the woman who'll keep me grounded while I conquer the business world. When I tried to contribute to their discussion about emerging markets, he laughed it off. Isn't she adorable? Always trying to talk business. After we married, it got worse. Marcus began referring to me as his secret weapon, not for my mind, but for my ability to charm investors' wives at corporate events. When I suggested expanding into sustainable technology, he patted my hand condescendingly. Leave the big decisions to me, sweetheart. You focus on looking beautiful. But I was already 3 moves ahead. Through my network of shell companies, I had been quietly purchasing Sterling Corp shares for months. By our first anniversary, I owned 37% of the company. Marcus, who had inherited 25% from his father, had no idea he was married to his own boss. The board meetings were theater of the cruelest kind. I would sit in the wives section, supposedly there to support my husband, while Marcus made decisions about my company. He would glance at me occasionally, sometimes even winking, as if to say, "Look how important I am." The worst moment came during the Henderson crisis. Sterling Corp was facing a hostile takeover, and Marcus was floundering. I watched him struggle with strategies that would have been elementary to me, but when I tried to slip him a note with a solution, he crumpled it without reading it. "Victoria, please," he whispered harshly, "this is serious business." That night, I called an emergency board meeting as V.S. Holdings. From my home office, I guided the board through a defensive strategy that not only thwarted the takeover but increased our stock price by 40%. Marcus took full credit, of course, bragging to anyone who would listen about his brilliant tactical mind. The morning after his latest humiliation, calling me his decorative wife in front of potential Japanese investors, I decided enough was enough. It was time for the final act. I scheduled a special board meeting for the following Monday, requesting the presence of all shareholders. The invitation, sent from V.S. Holdings' official letterhead, hinted at a major announcement regarding the company's future leadership. Marcus was ecstatic. Finally, he told me over breakfast, "I'm going to meet the mysterious V.S. Holdings. Rumor has it they're looking for a new CEO to partner with. This could be my big break." I smiled and poured him more coffee. How exciting, darling. That Monday morning, I arrived at Sterling Corp's headquarters an hour early, not through the main entrance where Marcus's assistant might see me, but through the executive parking garage using the keycard I'd had made months ago. I took the private elevator to the 42nd floor, where the boardroom's floor-to-ceiling windows offered a commanding view of the city. The conference table was set for 24 people, but I only needed the chair at the head. I had chosen my outfit carefully, a midnight blue power suit that commanded respect, paired with the diamond necklace Marcus had given me for our anniversary. If he was going to see me wield power, I wanted to look the part. The board members arrived first, shuffling nervously. They had been expecting to meet their mysterious majority shareholder for months. Richard Hawthorne, the silver-haired chairman, kept glancing at his watch. Patricia Ming, Our head of international operations, whispered frantically with the legal team. Marcus entered last, flanked by his inner circle of yes-men. He had worn his lucky tie, the one from our honeymoon, and his confidence radiated across the room. He nodded respectfully at the empty chair at the head of the table, then took his usual seat to the right. I waited until the room settled, then stepped out from behind the partition where I had been standing. The silence was deafening. Marcus blinked rapidly, as if his eyes were malfunctioning. Victoria, what are you doing here? The wives section is downstairs. I walked slowly to the head of the table, my heels clicking against the polished floor. I'm not here as a wife, Marcus. I'm here as the owner of this company. Confusion rippled through the room. Marcus laughed nervously. Honey, I think you're confused. We're about to meet with VS Holdings. VS Holdings, I interrupted, settling into the chairman's seat. Stands for Victoria Sterling Holdings. I am your majority shareholder. I own 51% of Sterling Corporation. The color drained from Marcus's face. Around the table, board members sat frozen, their mouths agape. The only sound was the distant hum of traffic 42 floors below. That's impossible, Marcus whispered. You don't have any money. You don't even have a job. I opened the leather portfolio I had placed on the table. I've been building my investment portfolio since I was 25. I've acquired Sterling Corp shares through 17 different shell companies over the past 4 years. Richard, if you would be so kind as to verify the documents. Richard Hawthorne, the company's longest-serving board member, reviewed the papers with trembling hands. His voice cracked as he spoke. Everything appears to be in order. Mrs. Sterling is indeed our majority shareholder. Marcus shot to his feet, his face flushed with rage and humiliation. This is insane. You can't just waltz in here and I can do whatever I want. I said calmly, this is my company. It has been for over a year. The room erupted in whispers. Patricia Ming looked like she was about to faint. The legal team frantically shuffled through documents, trying to understand how they had missed something this significant. But I wasn't finished. Marcus, I continued, my voice steady and cold, you're fired, effective immediately. Security will escort you out after this meeting. He stared at me as if I had physically struck him. You can't fire me. I'm the CEO. The board would never. The board works for me. I cut him off. As of this moment, I'm appointing Patricia Ming as interim CEO while we search for permanent leadership. Patricia looked stunned but nodded slowly. She had always been the most competent executive in the room, constantly overlooked because Marcus preferred surrounding himself with men who wouldn't challenge him. Furthermore, I continued, I'm restructuring the entire executive team. Anyone who enabled a culture of dismissiveness toward women or minorities will be replaced. This company is going to reflect the values I actually believe in. Marcus was shaking now, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. Victoria, please, we can work this out. I'm your husband. I love you. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered every condescending smile, every dismissive comment, every time he had made me feel small while I was literally signing his paychecks. Marcus, I said quietly, you never loved me. You loved the idea of me, the beautiful wife who made you look successful. You never bothered to learn who I really was. Security appeared at the boardroom door. I had called them before the meeting, knowing this moment would come. Gentlemen, I addressed the guards. Please escort Mr. Sterling from the building. He no longer works here. As Marcus was led away, his face a mask of shock and humiliation, he turned back one last time. This isn't over. Victoria, I'll fight you. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. With what money? Marcus? I'm also filing for divorce. The prenup you insisted on works both ways. You get nothing from my assets. And Sterling Corp was never yours to begin with. After he was gone, the boardroom remained silent for a long moment. Finally, Richard Hawthorne cleared his throat. Mrs. Sterling, he said carefully, what would you like us to do now? I stood and walked to the window, looking out at the city I was about to conquer. Now, we get to work. Patricia, I want a full audit of our diversity hiring practices. Richard, schedule meetings with our top 3 competitors. I have acquisition plans. And everyone, understand this, Sterling Corp is about to become the most innovative, ethical, and profitable company in our sector. The transformation was swift and dramatic. Within 6 months, Sterling Corp's stock price had doubled. Our new AI division, led by the brilliant Dr. Sarah Chen, a woman Marcus had once passed over for promotion, was revolutionizing the industry. Our employee satisfaction scores reached record highs as I implemented flexible work policies and transparent promotion criteria. Marcus, meanwhile, had taken a position at a mid-sized firm in Portland. I heard through mutual friends that he was struggling to adapt to being just another executive, no longer the golden boy who commanded rooms through inherited privilege. A year later, I stood in the same boardroom where I had revealed my identity, but everything had changed. The table was now surrounded by the most diverse executive team in our industry's history. The company's value had tripled, and we had just been named one of the best places to work in America. Patricia Ming, now permanent CEO, was presenting our expansion plans to the board. As she spoke, I caught my reflection in the window and smiled. I was no longer the woman who had sat silently while her husband dismissed her intelligence. I was Victoria Sterling, and I had built something extraordinary. The best part? I had done it all while everyone thought I was just a decorative wife. Some might call it revenge. I called it justice. And this was only the beginning, friends. What do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you in next video.